Hi, as I mentioned in my previous video, we're going through a review of what's available in the Tools menu, and previously we had talked about page properties, the application wizard, application generation options, configuring menu, and this is the application menu for your web application, and also configuring your web application start page. I skipped over the role-based security wizard because I wanted to dedicate a video to this function alone because it's such an important part of application generation. And so what I wanted to do was to talk briefly about the role-based security wizard and how flexible it can be and how you can use this kind of maybe in ways that you weren't thinking of to enforce application security. As I had mentioned earlier, I'm using the SQL Server 2000 pubs database that gets installed with the developer instance of SQL 2000. And so let's just say that as the publisher I want to restrict access to my system to my employees. So I'm going to select my employee table from the pubs database. My username field is going to be, we'll just say it's the first name, and we're going to say the password field is the last name, and the user ID field is the employee ID. Now this is just one example of how you can use this system. IronSpeed doesn't care if the username is the first name and the password is the last name. It doesn't really care what you use there. By convention, you could definitely set up permissions with an actual username. Maybe it's a combination of first and last name, and the password field would be maybe the employee's social security number if you wanted. You can set this up however you would like, and IronSpeed's going to enforce whatever scheme you choose to use. So let's just go ahead and select Next. If we did have roles assigned, maybe we had admins, maybe we had people in charge of each specific area, maybe there was an authors and maybe an employees, and these people could edit information in the authors table. Maybe employees could only edit information in the employees table. We could select that here and control who could do what based upon roles. We're not interested in doing that, so we're just going to hit Next. This is kind of neat. We can apply which specific pages we want to enforce those credentials that we had selected. We can select it all. Now the real important thing here is just because you select them all and hit Next, that's not going to apply them. You have to hit Set. The blueness indicates that the application understands your intention, and that's going to require a sign-in for every page. And you go ahead and hit Next. And pretty much this is no-brainer stuff all the rest of the way out. If you just follow the process through and hit Finish, you've now enforced application to every aspect of your web page. Somebody is going to need a first name, a last name to sign into this application, and that's just how it is. And if they're not listed in that employees table, then they're not going to be getting in. And that's how the role-based security wizard works. If you add additional pages to your application, what you're going to need to do is go back into that role-based security wizard, and you're going to have to go find those new pages that you added in, individually select them and change them. One of the things I do like about the role-based security wizard is that you can assign customizable permissions. For example, maybe we want to let everyone into these pages. It's by default it's set to everyone. We want to change this, so let's go ahead and hit Set. Now everyone's allowed in. We can say Next and Finish, and we've changed access on those pages. The role-based security wizard is just a real flexible tool, and you can use it in a variety of ways, and so feel free to experiment with that. And if you do have questions about using the role-based security wizard, especially using roles, feel free to email me directly, and I'd be happy to, feel free to post questions in the forums, and myself or one of the other MVPs or even some of the other users would be happy to help you out with that. So that concludes my discussion of the role-based security wizard. And also the tools menu. The next video is going to cover the databases menu, and we'll get into that in more detail.